I do know a few women in the space for sales, but don't know anybody like you, right? And the way you do persuasion and your content and how you do it.
I think that right now I see it on social media. People are questioning if they should go to college or not.
Yeah.
That's a huge mistake.
You're amazing. I've done a lot of interviews, just, a little feedback. You're a great interviewer too.
Never lose that magic, Jeff.
Welcome to the Make More Money podcast. I am so excited for this episode. I am Jeff J, here to make your freaking day. We bring on people who literally have inspired me in some way. I read probably my most favorite ebook ever. Okay, late last night, we're at the Domination conference. I met someone who will literally dominate your sales life. If you're a female looking to get in, sales advice and really just train your sales team, then this lady, Estefania Campo, right? Is that how you say it?
Yes.
Campo. She does exactly that. And before I get into it, I want to go over our sponsor. Our sponsor is The Move Miami. It is the best podcast studio in all of Miami. They're expanding now, and you can actually go be a place where there's influencers, celebrities, entrepreneurs, and it's the home of the Make More Money podcast. Click the link below for the sponsor. Tell them Jeff sent you if you want to use it, and you'll get a discount by using the Make More Money podcast. So without further ado, Estefania, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. You look phenomenal.
Thank you.
So listen.
So do you.
Oh, thank you. So by the way, my love affirmations, words of affirmation.
Oh,
So
love language.
Love language. Yeah. What's yours?
Mine is quality of time.
Quality time. Oh, good. Well, we're doing that right now. I'm solving our podcast, and we could do more podcasts then.
Yeah.
All right. So really quick, for people who don't know anything about you, to give it a little, recap, 60 to the minute recap of you and what you do.
Okay, awesome. So I'm from Colombia. I moved to the U.S. when I was 13. I graduated from FSU, so go Knowles, with a sales degree.
Huh.
And then I went into sales, first doing custom suits in Miami, and then I went into the medical world for the last 10 years.
You did custom suits?
Yeah.
Oh, good. You can help me with that. I'm still trying to figure out how to make a suit work for me. This is a new version of that.
I
Yeah.
like the color though. Purple's your color.
Yeah, it was marketing. Okay, cool. So, yeah, good. I tell that to my dad because he was very upset that I bought a purple suit. All right. So what's the main thing that you let's talk about this conference because we just came out of it. Okay, it's life changing for me for many different reasons. What's your biggest takeaway from the X-Pro Domination conference?
I love the balance. So I was a little hesitant to come because I didn't want to come from the normal sales bro mentality. And my biggest takeaway, it was the balance. It was so good for men and women that I feel like I took something value.
Yeah, you were the one who asked me when we were on the phone, is there going to be women there, right?
Yes.
There were a lot of women here, right?
So many.
Yeah, when I go, a lot of women tended to show up. I don't know what's going on, right? Yeah. No, but in all seriousness, there were, and one thing I love, because it's funny, I read the intro to your ebook, okay? Mm-hmm. It reminded me of my mom. I lost my mom when I was 13 to breast cancer, but my mom was always very active and creative and always learning, right, stuff for that. So talk a little bit about your history growing up. Your mom, she was, to make a good Christmas, right? And it was when you were in Colombia, right?
Yeah.
She would then, make stuff and sell it? Talk about your mom a little bit right here.
Yeah, so I come from a background of women who are extremely resilient. They are somewhat of the head of the household. So when we were younger, my mom had to, with my aunt, they went out to buy a cloth. Instead of buying Christmas presents, they bought cloths of to make Christmas hats, and we used to sell them on the street. So I was in charge of creating the name of that person. So for example, for Jeff, if you were to buy a Christmas hat, you would come, I would have write your name Jeff, put sparkles in it, and then you have your Christmas hat. So we did that a week before Christmas, and right at Christmas Day, which we celebrate on the 24th, not the 25th.
Why the 24th? Is that what Colombia does?
That's where the Latin community
does.
Really?
Yeah,
we celebrate.
No.
We can't wait for the presents the next day.
I did that too.
Santa Claus
we always did that too.
Midnight.
Did you believe in Santa Claus when you grew up?
Well, yeah, why not?
Well, because we didn't. No, my parents did not do Santa Claus. We knew Santa Claus was a lie. when we never had Santa Claus. People were very upset about that, you know, because I grew up in a very Christian household.
Yeah.
So they were like, Santa Claus is like not Jesus was the reason. But we used to always open our Christmas on New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve all the time, you know.
Yeah.
So it was fun. So I didn't know it was the Latin thing. But anyway, continue. So every 24th.
So they went out, got the Christmas presents, and then we got to open up like presents at midnight. So that was like a tradition every single holiday. And they're always been entrepreneurs. They always had like their little business. My mom had like a fruteria, which is like fruit salads. She would sell like fruit salads. And then me young, it was like selling the salads. We also sold roses on the street. So it's always been like entrepreneurship all around, just selling stuff. When I was, I was like on 8th grade. Like I used to sell candy too.
Yeah.
Comfort candy. So it was fun. I thought it was like really fun to do.
Did you because I same deal with me. I sold lemonade, but I sold lemonade and then candy and ice cream and whatever I could sell out, whatever my mom actually let me, and she said, if you make this amount of money, you can keep it open, but if not, you can't do it again. So I think it was like $80, and I felt like a millionaire at like 8 years old.
Yeah.
Did you have to? When you were selling everything, did you understand the concept of money when you were doing it or no? Because at the time when I was young, I didn't even know what money was. I just knew like I liked doing this gesture that people gave me this stuff that everybody wants, and I gave them something. I felt like I was winning at something. Like it was like the coolest thing in the world. Like
I know money.
Right? You knew what the money value was.
Did, yeah.
So I literally, it wasn't to me about the money as much as it was about the transaction, right? Of how many people I could get in. Like I was the marketing guy, I wasn't the sales guy, but I wanted to get as many people in, right? It was insane. Like I used to drive when I was little and look at logos and be like, what's behind that logo, right? who's the people behind it and why does that logo matter, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so fast forward, so you're selling everything in there. Mm-hmm. When did you come to the States? When you were 13?
13, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. How was that transition?
I mean, it was hard too. I mean, it was completely different. We came to Miami, and obviously we didn't know any English. Then we moved out of Miami to Orlando, grew up in Orlando. I was an ESOL student, so with all the foreign kids, always. And then, I mean, I always knew I wanted to always make something of myself, so I studied really, really hard, and then got into FSU.
Gotcha.
Well, I did community college first because FSU would not accept me, but I'm like...
So that's even harder, yeah. I did the same thing. I did community college, and I wanted to play football was my goal. Yeah. So I wound up studying extremely, to that to apply. I want to play in semi-pro anyway. So, okay, so you get an FSU. But what you learned in FSU on sales, because people always tell me all the time, you know, I have a marketing consulting business, really what it is. Oh, I went to school for marketing, and I don't care about that. I think that's silly because I don't know what they're teaching in there. It's always outdated. Mm-hmm. Did they teach? I feel like sales is universal. I feel like you use some sales school in there, and they had sales. Did you learn anything valuable at FSU in sales?
Yeah, 100%. I still apply for today. Yeah, and it's funny the way that I got into sales at FSU because I was going for finance. And then I took my first finance class, and I'm like, this is not for me.
I didn't even know they had sales in college.
They do. The only 2 colleges are FSU and UCF that they have a sales institute, and they train you. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I think that should be now I'm just going into the last, but that should be mandatory for all colleges to have that.
Yeah, there's only a few in the United States that they do have a major in professional selling. Uh-huh. And then so I know finance was not for me, and I didn't want to do just that random major that people do, international business or English or whatever.
Communications.
Yeah, because I'm like, if I graduate, then what am I going to put in that little plaque, right?
Right. You're getting a piece of paper.
Yeah. Am I what? So I took a personality test, and the personality test, the results was either a actress, and I'm like, that's a little too late for that. I'm not going to be an actress. Comedian, and sales rep. I'm like, okay, guys. And I look over the
So you're both. You're a comedian and a sales rep. And you look like an actress.
Yeah.
So you got all 3 of them. Okay, good. That's awesome. So what, let's talk about this. So then, what was the job you had? You worked, I think it was medical sales or whatever. What was the job you had?
Yeah, I did medical sales.
Okay, as soon as I said that, I was like, wait, did I get it wrong? Because I've talked to so many people. So you did medical sales for a while. I actually applied for a job in medical sales. Didn't wind up getting it. So you learned for, how long did you work that? That was right out of FSU?
No, FSU, I got a job full commission for 2 years, and then I learned a lot at that job.
What was the commission sales job? Full commission.
Full commission, like no salary. Just
No, I know.
full
I took one of those too. It's the best, right? You have great days, you feel good. Like you got to sell to survive. But
Yeah.
if you can do that, you can do a business. Someone told me that. I
Yeah.
picked a high ticket. I worked for a window company, right, and just selling home improvement. You know, we're selling 50K, 45K windows. But I knew if I could do that, I could run a business. You know.
Yeah.
So what was the
Awesome.
what was the full commission sales job you did?
It was called Tom James. I don't know if you heard Tom James. It's like
Shoes.
Yeah, suits. So the idea is to go after, C-level executives, business owners,
Yeah.
and go to their house, own their business, measure them up, and then sell them like clothes, because these people don't have the time to go to a store.
That's perfect. Yeah, I'm totally. I need the name of that company because even now I didn't want to go. I got so lucky with this suit.
Yeah.
There was I got so lucky how it happened, or so blessed, I should say. God's there. I actually prayed about it, you know. But my point in saying that is like, so you did that for how long?
2 years.
2 years. Oh, cool. Did you do well in that or no?
I was the number one getting clients. Like, I was so good at getting clients. I was just not good with like the whole tailoring and
Yeah, I think you're
and
good at selling
everything.
it. Yeah.
But I hate cold calling. So I never cold call. So they wanted me to call 80 people from a list. I'm like, I'm not cold calling.
Yeah.
So I used to like go to
Well,
like
just get really good at marketing then you don't need to.
no, because at that time marketing social media was not really
When was
for
this?
that.
What year was this?
2013.
Yeah, all right. I guess
Like
it was, yeah.
social media was still
Was it not?
as-
Yeah, it
it's
wasn't
not
what it
there
was.
yet.
Yeah, you're right.
So what I did was I went networking, and I literally sat down at really high-end restaurant like Sumo from 6 to 9 happy hour.
Yep.
And then everyone approached me. So
Really, I wonder why.
and then I sold. That's how I got all my clients.
Yeah, that's good. That works, man. I can see that. Okay, so then you decided to make this leap out on your own.
Yes,
Do
a year
this.
ago.
A year ago. Yeah. All right, so you decided to make this leap out on your own, right? A year
Yes.
ago.
Yes.
What made this decision?
I just always knew that I didn't want to get retired. I don't want to be like 60-year-old rep that goes into like an office, a doctor's office. I'm like, I don't see myself doing that. And since I've been 21, I always knew I wanted to retire when I was 40. So it's time. So I'm 32 now. So I think I have the experience. I did everything like in my 20s that I wanted to do. And now that I'm 30, I'm looking for that spark again.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm just gonna create my own business. And obviously there's no training for women at all. So in sales is a completely different game for women. So, and I like sales. I've done really well at sales. So why not like help women and become a really good saleswoman, not feel pushy, not feel like stressed out about sales, and literally have a stress-free sales lifestyle and do really well at it.
I love that. Yeah, one of my first clients, one of my clients that really changed everything was she did Angela of Empower Her Money. She'll be on this too, and she had a service that really helped women, right? And because I lost my mom when I was young and stuff, I always had a big, me and Ami were talking about this too as well, of really a woman's force on this. So it's cool that you come here, and we really don't have this built out, because as we're building this out, I could see, a spot in the future for that. And, I do know a few women in the space for sales, but don't know anybody like you, right? And the way you do persuasion and your content and how you do it. So talk a little bit about the 5 languages and what that is. Like I read it, but talk about the 5 languages of sales that you wrote.
Yeah, so the 5 languages of buyers actually were born because when I was doing suits, like I was mentioning, I didn't like cold calling because I was getting hung up on too because of my accent. So that was another reason why I'm like, there has to be a way that I have to get in front of these people and I don't get hung up on. So I started to go networking a lot, and I noticed that a lot of these people had certain personalities that are very similar, and I started to like notice that if I talked to them some sort of way, they started to open up. So that's where the personalities and the networking came together. So I teach women the 5 languages of buyers, which is something that I came up with, which is the 5 personalities that you are coming across in business and how you can change your language to actually hit their spot and talk to how they make buying decisions. And then also, if you learn how to communicate, which is it's just the base of communication. if you know how to communicate, you know how to dress well, and you know how to network, I mean, you're really gonna kill it you're gonna be really successful as a woman.
Yeah. Okay. So what are the 5 languages? You want to go through them?
Sure.
Okay.
So the first one is dominant. The second one is socialite. Third one is supportive. Fourth one is methodical, and the fifth one is aspirational. And the way that I like to explain it, I'm not sure if you guys are fans of Suits.
Yeah. The show. Yeah. I gotta watch it. My brother watches it all the time. I've been focused on my business so much that I didn't get to watch it again.
So I explain and describe it based on the characters, which I think it drives home like the personalities, and also when they speak to that buyer, they're able to even like I have a woman in my academy that she had her number one job. Like, she was applying for a lot of jobs, and her number one job that she really wanted, she applied this strategy like to respond based on like what that person was wanted from her based on the personality, and she got hired on the spot.
Yeah, that's cool. So which one are you out of these 5 languages of buyers?
Aspirational.
Aspirational? Explain that. What is that? Like, I kind of know, but...
Yeah. So the aspirational buyers are the ones who are like the dreamers, visionaries. So it's not about just results. It's about like the growth and the journey. So these are the buyers that you sell the dream to, because
that's me
it's
then,
about
too.
growth. Yeah, it's about growth. So it's about like the potential and what it could be. So even if like you're really successful, there's always something that you always want to keep achieving. So you're selling them the dream and the journey. So the way that you describe and you sell to them, persuade them, is talk about the journey and how your business can align to that end goal, but in the journey, not just the result. It's just the journey, how you're gonna take them to that result.
Right. Yeah.
And make them grow.
Yeah. A few people here. You were one of the people I read my 5-year plan to. Right. So I was selling the whole vision to it.
Yeah.
And I do that. That's what I've done time and time again. Because I'm not afraid to put out what like could happen, because then people hold me accountable to it, and I sell the dream. And same thing, people always, now I do consulting, they always try and wave this money, you'll make this money. I could care less about that. I tell them that all the time, which I got to stop saying, because we need the money, right?
Yeah.
But if you talk to me about the dream first, and then you got me hooked, right? That's why Ami's hooked me on that, of the vision he wants in Miami with X Pro. You know what I mean? It's just amazing. So okay, so what's one thing that like. Now, who's your like ideal client then? If you have somebody that you can help, obviously, I love that you're helping women better at sales. So who's your ideal type of client that if someone was coming to you, that would be like the person you were like, okay, we'll help?
My ideal client is someone that I was used to be, which is like from like, age from like 21 to 25, that you have that, you're hungry, you don't know, you're kind of like scared for your future, but you do have ambition to go somewhere. And then that young woman who wants to start a sales career, wants to start their business, who is hungry, young, and then they really want a really good future. They like nice things, and they just need directions of how to get them.
Yeah. All right, perfect. Yeah, so then that's pretty much you. A lot of times, too, I got into business because it's so hard for me to make money online. Yeah. And that's why I help people, because then when I did it and I finally unlocked it, I was like, oh, I'm just going to help as many people. And I started helping for free. People started making a lot of money, started changing my pricing. And then this is what it's God's taking this to. All right, let's talk about this, too. And actually, I didn't do this in the other podcast. So a big part of my business is I surrendered my business to God not too long ago. I gave it all to Him, and I said, hey, this is it. What's something about like the Lord and business and knowing your skill sets? Like what's a Bible verse? What's something in there in your grounded faith spiritually that you put it within your business?
So I read the Bible every morning, just Proverbs.
That's what I used to do.
Yeah.
I used to turn it on until the 5 a.m. prayer meeting and play it. And it's so good, right? And I used to play it, and sometimes I'd fall asleep, but I used to listen to it all the time to wisdom, and it would actually be the same things that like I knew, and it would like talk to me like the next day,
Yeah. So that, and I think like if you do that every day, you do get something that like about like wisdom like every day. Yeah. So that itself, it's very helpful. And another one is, I think like you said it earlier, like not in this podcast, but early in the day, I think that you said like we're all are born with like skill sets.
God-given gifts.
So we must develop them. So I think like that's really important for women too, and that's another reason why I want to help women, It's because I think now in today's world, like, women, it's a little bit lost into like the value and what a woman can bring to the table. And then we can say, hey, a woman can just bring their beauty, or they can bring their brains, but they're not married. Like, people are not marrying them both. And then at the end of the day, as a woman, as a human being, you have a skill set to develop. So I think like women should start developing the skills that were given to feel fulfilled and happy, no matter like their surrounding.
Yeah, I know. There's something right now that's attacking America on the family value where it is, because the women movement has gotten so misconstrued with ungodliness, right? So to have like a godly leader of women in it to give a skill set so they can actually, especially in the economy right now, the best thing you could ever do in this type of economy is learn sales, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're in an economy where we're going into probably the next worst thing that we'll see since COVID or since 28. All the writing's on the wall right now, right? So sales is the one skill to survive, right? What's some of the best like training or sales material that you've studied or done before?
Well, I graduated with a sales degree,
Right.
So the very first thing that they do teach you in sales school is buyer psychology. So they do teach you how to identify the personality of that buyer, so you can kind of like become a chameleon to talk to that person, right? Which makes you that social butterfly too, that we all want to be, that confidence, talk to someone with a confident manner. So buyer psychology is the very first thing. Second thing is like spin. So they teach you spin, like asking like a certain series of questions to get to that like implicit need that are why people are buying from you. And then there's obviously several books that you can read. Like my favorite one that people don't really read is, and I don't think it's that really famous, is the 49 Sandlin Rules.
Oh yeah, I know
That one's
book
really
is.
good.
Yeah, I know. So what's and that's awesome. What, by the way, which one is the engineer buyer? Is that the methodical buyer?
Methodical, yeah.
Yeah, aren't they the most pain in the neck?
They are. So when I teach my girls, is the methodical buyer is the ones that it's all about prove it to me, prove it. They are in as a salesperson, they're the most pain in the butt to sell because they always. But you gotta have really patience.
I know exactly what to show them when I used to sell windows, right? And when I got the engineer, I used to start taking apart the window for them because they were going to do it anyway. And then anytime they'd ask me a question like, how does this work? I'd say, well, what do you think? Because they always had their own conclusions. So I always made them feel empowered that they know. But it was, trust me, they definitely...
But that's a good point in power, right? Because the way that you persuade this type of buyers, and especially as a woman is different, is like instead of like them saying like explain it to me, you say can you teach me? And they feel like
they're like, the teachers are so important. They're sketching out the whole thing of what it is. But that's how God made them, right? So it's crazy, and it's funny because two of the guys do AI. They have that skill set. We don't, right? And you need that. Like how God made us with 4 different types or 5 different types of personalities to build all what we're sitting in now. It was someone was the visionary. Someone actually planned it out, right? And that was their God-given gifts. And I think most people realize that when they do, like what you did, which is extremely smart, did a personality test and realized it. More people should be doing that anyway, you know? Yeah. So, all right, what's one thing, let me ask, what's one thing that like you think we can change in the education system? So, I mean, you went to college, right? You obviously grew up here. What's one thing that you think now, because where the world's going at, I was homeschooled, right? And it's just, I don't even trust bringing my kids into the school system in America now. So to do that, I was always very adamant. I was a teacher, right, back in the day. I taught behavioral middle school kids of like, nah, we're not teaching the right stuff. We got to teach more stuff. So what's one thing you think we should change in the education system?
I think that right now I see it on social media. People are questioning if they should go to college or not, which I think that's a huge mistake. You should always go to college because it will give you options. Even if you don't use your college degree, you still have the option to use it or not. So I actually met this girl today here at the event that she wants to get into a sales job. Like she really wants to like improve her life, her lifestyle. And the very first question they asked, do you have a bachelor's degree?
Right.
And then she's like, no. If she did have a bachelor's degree, then she can apply for like pharmaceutical sales, like medical sales, right?
Right, yeah.
But she doesn't. So that whole industry is out of her reach, even though the same sales skill is needed for any sales like job, right? So go to college, because it will open up a lot more doors.
But do you think this is one of the ones that just for me, I didn't know they had sales in college. I wish I knew. I would have took that.
Yeah.
Do you think they should make an agreement that every college should have a sales they shouldn't just be two like FSU? Do you think every college should have sales?
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
Yeah, and I think like another thing is
So we'll make that change. We'll do
make that change, but then also have a lot more electives. Like the education system in Colombia is, I'm sorry, it was a lot better than the.
Oh, I know it
US.
is. I studied it. By the way, when I went to Carousel, and I actually I really want to change. I will be a part of change the education system. Our kids are our future. Like that's where it is. And people think I'm joking about that. I got in trouble when I was teaching at the middle school because I was testing a kid with his IEP. Do you know what IEP is?
No.
So an IEP is it's a placement thing, and the kid had test anxiety. He didn't have test anxiety. The kid was a genius. He just freaked out. Nobody wants to do a test, so he had it. But when I found out what he wanted, I put juicy fruit gum on the screen. He got 100 on the test, and then they're pulling me in saying, I was like, no, this whole system's rigged. So I told the principal I'm going to change the education system, and I said it, and I feel like by helping people put out courses and this stuff, I'm doing a part of that promise, right? Yeah. But another way, just learning from you right now that they have sales, I'm like, we can do that and make it there. I feel a lot better if everybody's learning, sales, and maybe make them do a personality test too and see what they're at, so they don't watch in the wrong.
And teach them soft skills.
Yeah.
Teach them communications, how to talk to people, how to confidently talk to anyone. I think soft skills are very important because colleges are trying to implement that, but I think it's a little late. I mean, these are people that are 18, 20, who already form their social skills. I think at 10, 11, 12, if you are taught soft skills, communication, manners. I remember in Colombia they teach you even calligraphy, so you can have a nice handwriting. Yeah. They don't teach you that here.
Yeah, they don't.
They teach you painting. They teach a lot of things that I would definitely change in the American system is culture. I think
I agree.
I think Americans need more culture.
I totally agree. By the way, I spent five months in Colombia, and the people and stuff and the food wasn't all marketed. It was better, right? You know what I'm saying, right? You from it. So I totally agree on that. The culture is needed to change. Part of the reason why my friends are from South America or stuff is because of that reason.
Yeah, but culture, history, history, culture, geography.
Yeah. All right. What's so this is the Make More Money podcast. We always ask one. It's funny. I'm totally losing track of time. I don't know where we're at with this, but what's your what's one money tip you have? The best money tip you have, because you like nice things, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the best money tip you have for people starting in their business or in business or in sales? Let's say they make a big sales commission, right?
Yeah.
So
I say save it and invest it. And then in your 30s, you can actually spend it.
Okay. Gotcha. Right, save and invest.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Yes.
What would you invest in?
Real estate.
Really? Okay. Have you ever owned any real estate?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? What do you own?
Townhouse.
Townhouse? Oh, nice. Yeah, I owned it for you and I sold it. I'm about to invest in more real estate now. That's the next goal. All right. What's best relationship advice? What?
Nothing.
Why you laugh?
Relationship advice?
I mean, it could be business relationship, your friend, okay? It doesn't have to be relationship there,
One best relationship advice is...
Because I ask this question for twofold, okay, all the time. I've asked it to Elena and everybody. Was because, relationships are key in life, right?
Yeah.
So whether it's business or it's a personal relationship, it's key. So that's why,
I think, I've learned recently that you need to speak your mind.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. With your friends, with loved ones, with business, you have to not let things go that bothers you, and then actually speak your mind. Yeah. Not in a bad manner, but you can have an eloquent conversation with someone of something that you didn't like.
Yeah, I love that. No, trust me, I'm all about speaking my mind. To a fault probably, but it's good. It gets attention. All right. what's one thing that you really like? If you had one word to describe you that you wanted, right, to people to know about you, Estefania Ocampo, what would that one word be to describe you? That you would want your essence to be. This is part of the thing I do in personal branding. So I just want to know if you know what it is, because for me, I have the word that it is. Like
What's
I know.
yours?
Mine's inspire.
Inspire?
So if you tell me, oh, hey, you inspire me, that fulfills me. That was the word. I did that. So my whole journey, right? Because if you do a triangle, we didn't do this today. I should have done exercise instead of whatever I did on the stage today. But you can always improve. Is the one word that is core value, your personal brand, what it stands for, your mission statement, your personal brand, your value prop, and then your mission statement, right? Your business. And in that one word it is, if you say inspire, your personal brand, everything that people watched when I was going door to door for solar, to now, they inspired them to now me living in Miami, right?
Yeah.
So that worked. Then my value prop went up because people saw other stuff because they see more content. And then my mission statement is what all the company I have in the Philippines for VAs, they all inspire each other, right? So it's my core creed word that I have. So what's like a word like that you have?
Two though, be yourself.
Be yourself.
So yourself, be yourself.
So that's it. So you're so very authentic.
Yes, because, and I think like I'm somewhat of a proven, like I think I didn't use any scripts I didn't use scripts, I didn't use any sales like method to like the frame, because again, people didn't understand the script when I was like, this is not me, and I couldn't pronounce it.
Yeah, same.
So I'm like, okay, get out of here. So I just did it my way and just be myself, and then people liked that, and I started to notice that the clients that I was getting was just like me, that we were just fun, and sales started to be fun. So that's what I teach girls, is like, just be yourself, be authentic, because you're going to start attracting your own tribe, and sales are going to start being enjoyable because you're going to attract people like just like you.
Yeah, and like Ami, I know where he's at, but he's a lot like me. Like I attracted him by that. People are like, how do you do that? I was like, because like me and him just vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I'm very blessed for that. All right, where can people find more of you?
Social media, and also LinkedIn. Those are my two.
LinkedIn. All right.
Yeah.
Where can they get the copy of or we'll leave the link below by the time this comes out. How about that works, right?
A free copy. I'll give you a free copy.
You'll give a free copy for that? I think you should sell the book for $49. We'll go over that later on. I did that. I did the free copy. We'll do a smaller bridge version of it.
I have a smaller version. I have an overview.
All right. That'll be the link in the bio. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you guys so much for watching. By the way, if you want to sponsor this episode or be on, click the link in the bio below. We will be sponsoring and bringing on best guests. Some of the guests we have coming up are Jake Paul, George Janko, The Girls Gone Bible, and so many more. It's going to be at the Move Miami podcast. If you want podcast viewing tickets, okay, we had people watching the podcast while we're here on Destination. This happens all the time. You can also get tickets for the viewings of some of these coming up. Thank you so much for watching. Click like, subscribe, and if you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, just share this out. Thanks, guys.